What's up, summoners? King Blair here. Today, we're gonna be taking a look at the new banner hero, Kawerik. So it has been a while. I have been watching a lot of videos, trying to give you guys more information on the hero. Trying to get more data gathering. But let's just talk about him. So he's been a very hyped unit. I feel like I was waiting for this unit to drop from like months. Like I think when I finished the story for the quest, I was like, y'all, Kawerik, I'm waiting for this. But he's finally here. I still haven't gotten to fully pull him because I did have to almost get to. I got to 114 on Cerise. Burned through a lot, and then he came out. I was like, come on, y'all, that's messed up. Thankfully, he's not a limited. I don't think he's a limited, but definitely a pretty solid unit. So he's going to be from Sidonia. He's the only one I'm missing from the new set. Dang, that's rough. But all right, so Kawerik. Let's talk about it. So first, base stats, element, fire, mage. So being a mage, pretty good. Mages have a lot of really freaking solid artifacts that just having a mage means you can start with 2 souls. So that's really good. Full star, fully awaken. Yeah, I was gonna say my game is lagging there for a little bit, but 4-star fully awaken, 119, not super crazy. It's pretty fast though. It's faster than your average combat booster. I think he is slower than like Cerise, which is we're gonna talk about it. It's a little bit of a problem for him, and it's one of the problem overall with Kawerik that makes him not as good. He's still a really good unit, but he's not like, oh man, y'all got a little sneak peek at the ultimate, which I think is pretty lit. But it's one of the problems that he is a fire unit and that he is fast, but not stupid fast. If that makes any sense. Like Assassin Sid, still faster than him. Assassin Kali, still faster than him. So there are those issues that we'll discuss in a little afterwards and how I think. But first, let's just look at the skills and the animations and everything. So model wise, pretty clean. Got the little like war style like battle mage. Like if he feels like a battle mage, which is like really cool. Kind of like, dang, he's really turning his back there. Look at that. His whole body looks like it's pointing backwards, but his feet are pointing forward. Okay, after I saw that for a while, I'm like, that's kind of weird. But overall, pretty cool. I like the idle animation. First skill, just a simple silence, does damage based on speed. Nothing super crazy, animation wise or skill wise. A silence is it's nice. Silence is pretty strong. It stops the enemy from using their ultimate. You could basically lock out certain units out of their ultimate. Think Maid Chloe. If it's an extended fight, you can lock out a Maid Chloe. You can lock out a Rule of Light, but it's not consistent, and that's one of the problems. This isn't a super consistent move. It only goes up to 85%, so there is that 15% chance you will miss. That's still pretty good. Or 25. My bad. That only goes up to 75%. So 25% chance that you will miss. So 1 in 4 you will miss. So it's not good to rely on that. Plus resistance and effectiveness. You should be making him high effectiveness, but highly unlikely that this is gonna be a reliable way. The second skill though, this is honestly probably his best move. And when I saw a second skill, I was like, Kawerik's gonna be insane. But the third skill didn't push him to that point. But the second skill, y'all, this second skill is nuts. This second skill is like, what? Like, what the hell? So it has to be fully Molagora, or not fully, but at least to plus 15 to be consistent, which is, you always want 100%. But basically takes him to another dimension, takes off the buffs. But it's only one buff, which is like kind of a problem. We'll talk about that again in a second. But takes off one buff and then increases the cooldown 1 turn twice. Increases by speed, increases the speed of the caster. So yeah, most of the stuff is based on speed. So that's pretty nice. And he's fast, so he can actually benefit from the speed. Proportionate to the opponent's speed. So it's like, okay, so what does this mean? This skill mean overall? So it's a single target strip buff mess up the turnover. One of the biggest things that you're gonna see is Basar counter, this is one of the best Basar counters, especially for Will Basars. There is a problem that if they're paired with the Moonlight CC, it only takes off one buff. I think the damage comes first. Correct me if I'm wrong. So if you do enough damage to take off the barrier, I'm pretty sure you do the damage, then you strip the buff, then you do the reduce one turn. I don't think it's strip buff. Let's check. Let's check the animation. So we can't see if we take off the buff because they don't have any buffs. But I'm pretty sure it's in that order. If it's not, that just makes it another reason why people are like about it. Because the fact that it doesn't take off all buffs could be bad. So I should probably research that. Shoot. I need to watch, but regardless, really strong skill for beating down on Basars. Especially immunity Basars, because it's does damage based on their attack and he's fire. That's the main reason why you would want him. He's fast, faster than Basar, can strip immunity, can reset skill cooldown. So a lot of things packed into one. Can one-shot, so even if it doesn't take off the barrier, you can probably one-shot if it doesn't have damage. So pretty solid in that aspect. The last ultimate and looked really good on paper. At first I was like, this could be really, really good. But then when you find out that the ratios just aren't there and it doesn't do anything besides just damage, then you're like, So ulti-wise, like animation-wise, it's pretty lit. I actually really like the animation. The penetrate defense with the increased speed, you're always gonna open up with second skill. You always, I don't think I know a scenario where I wouldn't open with second skill. Like there's very few times you're not gonna open with this skill because it's just so good. It just essentially strips a buff, takes off turn cooldown, and does some damage. So even like you think Basar, but you also think Maid Chloe, you think Rule of Light. If you have high effectiveness and you're able to reset them for 2 turns, that gives you 2 turns to be able to deal with that unit and be able to destroy, like beat the defense. So this is just a really solid skill for opening. The third skill, it just doesn't feel like a good follow-up because it's just raw damage. And from the videos I've seen, it does like a little bit under 10k with like really good runes and really like not runes, really good equipment. So it's like, yeah, 10k, but you're thinking like, okay, BBK, my BBK is gonna do like 13k, you know, and it's on the thief. He's a mage, so it's like, it's tough. It's tough. So all right, so that's the skills and how they look. But let's talk about uses and should you get him, which after all, this is what this video is about. So biggest thing, PvE, surprisingly, I think he's okay. Not for later stages of Abyss, like the new stages of Abyss, because a lot of them are really like weird with silence, but I don't think you can silence any, bosses anyway. So being able to take buffs is really, really nice. Like having 100% chance to strip comes in handy in a lot of different stages. In Abyss, in like some Asmech hunt raids, just random mobs when you're mobbing, and then soon we don't know what the new dragon's gonna have or the new golem's gonna have. So potentially, like, you know, being able to just strip might be pretty solid. Getting that increased speed, getting him more turns, doing just pretty good raw damage, having some AoE, being a mage, being able to have access to Sierra Ren, Abyssal Crown, and then for overall just pretty solid PvE. Not super crazy, but can definitely be used. Can be used for golem, so can be used for early game players if you already don't have those teams set. But his place is PvP because he's just so fast that the first thing that everyone says is Basar counter. And right now people have been using Kayron, like speed Kayron, because Kayron is the fastest unit in the game. And Kayron is also fire, so he will always target Basar with his third skill, and the artifact lets him silence. So that's what people say. But the reason why I think Kawerik is better at that role than Kayron is because Kawerik's whole thing is taking off that immunity. So Kawerik shines better as a defensive unit in like for an arena defense because of that strip. You can't just, okay, if I get outsped, I just have immunity in my whole team. I'm like, okay, the Kayron ults, whatever. Like Basars get pretty tanky. Basars can get up to like 12, 13k HP, where Kayron's not gonna one-shot them full health. So Kawerik's still better for that. But that's it. That's the extent to where it is. And that's all he's going to be doing. It's basically a 1-for-1 trade. Because the rest of his kit really doesn't like supplement his role. Once he gets to speed, I'm like, whoa, like you're you're gonna take a bunch of turns, right? And you're gonna do all this disruption. The ultimate doesn't have any disruption. I really wish that the silence was on the ultimate, and then the penetrate was on the skill 1. Like that would make him so much better. That would actually be kind of scary, because now it's like, or maybe it's like if you have speed on the ultimate, then it's like silence chance goes up to 100%, you know? Like something just so it's like scarier. He doesn't have any presence after he does this move. It's like, okay, I'm done. I did my job, boom, he's done. He doesn't have any follow-up. And that's where I think the problem is with him, where he doesn't really shine that much as a unit, even though he's so dope as a character. But yeah, it's just a sad day, y'all. Still really good. Like I feel like I'm underhyping him. He's still a good unit, but there's just other units that do his job better, or can do his job better. Assassin Kali still faster than Basar. Won't counter Basar, so that's the biggest problem. But Kayron may not be able to one-shot the Basar, but if they don't have Will, it's like you auto-win. Yes, Kayron is really good against Basar, and Basar is really prevalent right now, but once Basar falls off, which eventually it will happen, whether by nerf or by them introducing a new broken unit into the game, it's just not going to do much. And the fact that he's fire, Cerise counters this guy, y'all. Like, Cerise can literally just outspeed him and lock him out. Like, strip him, lock him out, essentially. And it's he has too many counters. So, and he doesn't have enough to warrant a spot on the team. Like, when I think of a defense team, I'm like, okay, what is Kawerik doing? All he's there is to hit the Basar. Okay. If they have like a Seaside and a Charles, they might still be able to win the fight. So, or they can just bring like if they bring the Charles, it's not 100% guarantee. So, and then for offense, if I bring him from a cleave, like with my Basar cleave, to try to take out their Basar, I basically lose a slot, because he just doesn't have the follow-up damage to, like, usually fights are going to be decided within the first 2 or 3 turns, and he doesn't have that damage to really follow through to be like, okay, I did this, now I'm going to wipe their team. So, I don't know. Still really solid. I still think if you hate Basar and don't have a Basar counter, you should 100% pull for him, because he's going to be your best option to beat Basars, especially for early game. Where you don't have as many units built, you don't have as many equipment built, you don't have that many speed sets. It's a lot easier to build someone that has a high base speed than it is to build your own like Oxlots or Basar. So having access to him is going to be really, really good for early game players, and he does have some PvE presence. But for late game players, it's like it'll probably be another tool in the arsenal that one may see play, but won't be used as much. So that's my thoughts. I know I haven't been around for a while. You know, been struggling out here. It's a struggle. Stay safe, y'all. Don't catch corona. And I'll see y'all next time. Peace.